A few months ago, I came across one of these posts in my favorite subreddit, r/Apple. They love me there. Entitled, "Do you know what happens to your MacBook when you send it in for repair?" The TLDR here is that he works for a company called CSAT Solutions that provides warranty service repair for Apple. And he was talking about how bad the working conditions were there. There was a lot of reasons that the working conditions were bad, whether it's the 12-plus hour workdays, impossible to reach metrics, one bathroom per 500 people, awful air quality. There's a lot that I discussed in the video. I did a video here. Is Apple using sweatshop labor in the United States, where you can listen to what I have to say, and a 38-minute long video, CSAT Solutions employee interview with Apple warranty service contractor, where I interviewed him and I went over several points with him that I had independently verified with other people that work for CSAT to be correct. And if you read some of the employee reviews, a sweatshop for U.S. citizens, slave labor, 1.9 stars with over 93 reviews, it's not exactly the best place to work. Now, one of the questions that came up for me was when he had mentioned that there were about 75, maybe 80% of the employees there barely spoke English or did not speak English and were Vietnamese. Now, one of the things that I found interesting is that Vietnamese immigrants made up something like 0.1 to 1% of the population in this specific region. And anytime somebody brings this up, you'll notice anytime CSAT responds to a review that they are very defensive and very sensitive to this fact. Now, the reason that I brought it up and was interested in it is not because I'm this bigot, xenophobic racist, but rather because I notice a pattern. Warranty service repair has a very low profit margin. The working conditions, from everything I've heard from people who work there and from what I read online, are clearly garbage working conditions, and you also just so happen to be focusing on hiring this teeny tiny section of the population that's probably not in the best position to complain. That all adds up to a really bad situation. So, now, when it comes to warranty service repair, there is not a lot of profit there because there's no money in it. Warranty repair means that a company sold something and that there was a problem with it after the repair. So the company already has the customer's money. They're not getting any new money, but they need to provide service, which means the company is going, whether it's Apple, Samsung, just about anybody else, they're going to look for the cheapest way possible to get your clunker of a device barely rolling over the 365-day mark, so you leave them alone and they get to keep your money. There's the low profitability, there's the bad working conditions, and there's the fact that they appear to be going for people who don't necessarily know their rights or who have no rights with which to advocate for themselves. So what I'm saying is that if you are somebody like Kevin, who is a legal immigrant that works for me, and I withhold his pay, or I don't turn the air conditioning or the heat on, or I don't pay him overtime, or there's an unsafe working condition or whatever, that he can make a lot of serious problems for me, rightfully so, if he's working in that environment. However, if he's an illegal immigrant, he's not going to do that. And the reason is because he does not want to get himself in trouble or himself kicked out of the country. So if he reports me and uses his name and he's an illegal immigrant, then he's going to be in trouble because he's not supposed to be here. Or even if he just makes an anonymous report, they're going to show up at the workplace, they're going to look through the books and go, you claim that you have 9 or 10 employees here. I see 9 or 10 people, but there's only one person on legal payroll, and that's you? What? And then investigations will ensue, and the illegal immigrants will get in trouble. So people who are illegal immigrants or people who don't speak English or who don't understand the culture are typically not in a position to or don't even understand that they can advocate for their basic rights. This was not some sort of issue where I'm going out of my way to be xenophobic or to speak against immigrants, but rather it's to bring up this simple point that often this power disparity is actually created on purpose. The company that's making the money from warranty repair is pushing downward pressure on the contractor to reduce their costs. The contractor is going to push downwards for crappier working conditions, and then the people hiring are then going to go and try to hire the people who are not going to complain about those crappy working conditions. And I'm trying to bring light to that entire chain of events rather than just get people focusing on the fact that I said the word immigrant, because this to me is important. I have worked for companies that took advantage of illegal immigrants before. I've seen it happen, and I'm sure it's happening all over the United States as we speak, where people are getting treated like garbage because they know that they can't advocate for themselves. And it was a situation that I kind of thought was going on with CSAT, but it seems like they're not using illegal immigrant labor, just people who barely speak English. That's also a situation that has come up in the news recently with another company. Now, one of the things I've said about Apple is that anytime Apple does something dumb, like remove a headphone jack or solder in the SSD and remove a lifeboat connector, or they glue in the battery, that other companies seem to mistakenly think that the things Apple did wrong are why they're successful, rather than the good user experience and the integration of their ecosystem. Now, Apple says, let's figure out how to lower our costs by bringing the experience of working at Foxconn with the nets outside the factory to America with CSAT solutions. And then Samsung apparently decides to say, hey, hold my beer, and contracts out to a company called CVE Technologies, which was recently in the news for being raided for about 280 immigration violations. And this is not something that surprises me. There is very little money in warranty repair. This is not profitable, and that is going to cause people to start scraping the bottom of the barrel, creating the most garbage working conditions so that the most money can be made, so that they're actually able to remain profitable. And that is then going to mean, well, let's find people who are willing to work in these garbage working conditions. And I understand that there are serious issues within our industry when it comes to profitability, depending on the device that you're working on. I regularly have people contact me wanting repairs of devices that you can find online for $110 in working or close to new condition that would require open-ended troubleshooting that's going to take a very skilled technician 2 to 4 hours to figure out. And within a no-fix, no-fee model, I cannot pay a technician a genuine, proper living wage to spend 2 to 4 hours of time on something that I can only bill 30% of that $110 if it's fixed and 0% if it's unfixed. I can't do that. And there are people who are going to see an opportunity there and say, I can fill an opportunity in the market. I can make repair economically viable for this entire section of devices that otherwise would not be economically viable. But the question here becomes, at what cost? Because there are businesses, even in my area, and I'm not going to say the name of them because I'm not going down that road in this video, but there are businesses in my area where I know they're probably paying the people below minimum wage. You got a lot of people packed into a small space, and they offer services on devices at prices that I cannot offer, because somebody who has that skill set, who is not going to do the work for less than $25 to $40 an hour, is not going to make it economically viable for me to work on a device that's worth $150 if it means putting a few hours of work into it. But it is viable if you really go to the edge, you really cost cut, and you start breaking a couple of rules when it comes to how you treat employees. I'm not willing to do that, but me not being willing to do that also means that I'm going to be saying no to things that somebody else is going to say yes to. And customers they're not going to understand what's going on in the back end. The customer is not going to understand that the reason that I'm saying no and the other place is saying yes is because they have their little rule-breaking slave factory and I don't. They're just going to think that other business cares about helping me and Lewis's business doesn't. So I understand the pressures that can be in place to incentivize people to break the rules in order to provide something for the customer that otherwise would not be viable to provide. At the same time, it's not something that I'm personally okay with. There are a couple of things I'm looking to accomplish with this video. The first thing I'm looking to accomplish here is I would like to actually speak with people who work for CVE who would like to share with me anything about this experience. I understand that this is going to be a bit more of a touchy subject than it is with CSAT because of the whole illegal immigration issue, but I would still like you to provide me with some sort of proof or evidence that you are actually an employee there, so that I know that you're not an online troll. I want to understand the work conditions. I want to understand how you're treated. I want to understand how all of this came to be. And that means I'm going to have to ask a lot of questions, and I'm also going to need to hear from people who work inside the company, because there's a lot less available about CVE than there was available about a company like CSAT. The second thing I'd like to do is to ask some questions of the general viewers of this video and start a discussion. What do you think is going on here? Do you think that this is a case of a company saying, or just like some company owners rubbing their hands together and going, yes, we are going to line our pockets by underpaying these illegal immigrants and treating them like garbage, where you have people who are really working their hardest for a better life and then just getting crapped on by this company? Do you think that this company actually treats their employees really well and has great working conditions, and that you had employees that were going out of their way to defraud their employer with false documents so that they seemed like legal immigrants when they weren't illegal immigrants, thus taking jobs out of the local community of people who actually went through the process to become a legal immigrant? Or do you think that it's maybe half and half? Perhaps the company was, winking and nodding at them with, we'll help you with these documents, or we'll kind of ignore the fact that this is clearly and obviously forged if you decide that you'll do a little bit of unpaid overtime. I'm kind of curious, which one of those was it? Because there is, there's a lot of gray area here, and there's a lot of questions to be asked before jumping to immediate conclusions. The pattern in this business tends to suggest that there is very little profit margin here, and that very little profit margin is going to wind up manifesting itself as bad working conditions, cost cutting, and people trying to skate some rules to remain profitable. And one of the things that I found interesting when I scrolled down here was there were some protests, and there was the signs like, hate has no home here, hate has no home here, hate has no home here. And one of the interesting things for me, at least as a business owner, and as a business owner who hires a lot of immigrants, if you come to my store, you'll notice that it's like a little United Nations. You have people from Iraq, you have people from Latin America, you have people from Eastern Europe, from Kazakhstan, and we've even got somebody here who came from Staten Island, but we try to pretend that he doesn't exist. But anyway, it's a very diverse working environment that I have here. I have no problem with immigrants, and I have no problem with people who come to the country with the intention to actually be a part of making it a better country. We may all come from different places and different backgrounds, but everybody here comes to work united under the same goal of giving Apple the middle finger and serving the customers that they don't want to serve. That is what unites us. That's what's important here. So I don't have a problem with immigrants, but what bothers me here is that when I see that when anything like these issues comes up, there seems to be this ideological lens by which individuals view the world, and they immediately jump to that ideological lens. You'll have individuals say things like, illegal, get the fuck out of here, you lazy ass immigrant, blah, blah, which is bullshit to me. But then you'll also have people who are like, why are we even investigating this at all? This is totally wrong. We shouldn't be investigating any sort of breaking in the law, which also seems kind of wrong. And, I agree. Hate has no home here. If you're one of those people that's like, you get out of my damn country, fine. I think many of us can agree that is hate, and I'm really not interested in that. But at the same time, as a business owner, as an employer, as somebody who provides services for some of the same customers, there's a little bit of overlap over here, even though 75% of their work is Samsung warranty service and repairs, is I can compete with people in a free market. I can compete, and I am happy to compete in that free market. What I cannot do is compete with Foxconn. I cannot compete with some slave labor camp and be able to continuously succeed. If you are able to get your labor at a dirt cheap price because you are taking advantage of individuals who have come here illegally, who are not able to properly advocate for themselves because they did not go through the procedure to be in a position where they could advocate for themselves, that is something that I have a problem with, because I cannot compete with a slave factory. I can compete with other businesses. I can compete with the place down the street. I can compete with iPad Rehab. I can compete with Chris Long, as long as he's not continuously turning all those dead 3787 and 3662 CPUs back to life by waving his hand over it. My point is, I can compete with people who are doing business fairly. I cannot compete with people who are doing business unfairly. So while I may not be for every single aspect of the way that ICE is doing what they're doing, if there are improprieties here, or if companies do have this, like 1 to 500 bathroom to employee ratio and are paying people like garbage and treating them like garbage and getting away with it because of a lack of investigation, then I'm totally fine with some sort of investigation occurring so that this doesn't happen. As an employer, and as somebody who is happy to hire legal immigrants, I don't want to see people being taken advantage of and being treated like garbage as a result of jackass business owners. And when I see these signs and things that say like hate has no home here, it doesn't seem like there is a lot of room for discussion there. I mean, and it also doesn't seem like questions are being asked. Maybe I'm getting something wrong here. Maybe those are the individuals that actually work there. Maybe those are the relatives of the people who work there. But I do see this happen a lot where I can say I agree that hate doesn't have a home someplace, but what you think is hate and what I think are hate are very, very clearly different things. And I'm not just going to throw up that sign everywhere. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to try to get to the bottom of the situation. I'm going to try and figure out as much as I can about what is going on. But I like to get as much information as possible before I just blindly point the blame at ICE, blindly point the blame at the employer, or blindly point the blame at the employee and just, sit in my little ideological echo chamber and say that hate is wrong. I kind of want to figure out who is wrong here and how can we stop this. Either way, I'd really like to know what you all think about what's going on with the situation. And above all, I would really like to hear from people who are actually involved in the situation or work with the company. If I have any conceptions about or guesses about what's going on here that's wrong, by all means, please correct me, lewis@rossmangroup.com. All I ask is that you send me some sort of evidence that you are involved with or work for the company. That evidence will stay between us. I will not share it with anybody. It's purely so that I know I'm not being contacted by trolls. So that's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something, and I'm open to a discussion.